Well, hello, it's the State Super Hero Geek here. And first of all, I want to say how happy I am to see that I've got some subscribers. That's very, very nice to know. I'm glad you guys did that. I know that my videos aren't fancy with effects and music and stuff there. I wish I knew how to do that. I may learn now. But anyway, it's nice to see that people are interested in seeing that, and thank you very much. I'm still waiting on some comments if you guys want to do that. And the you say if you like it enough and give it a thumbs up. Um, as I say, I've just got my tablet to work with now, and that's why these videos are so simple. Um, but maybe I should just keep it that way. Just be myself and do things that way. I figured out, I remember what it was I wanted to correct. That I said something wrong in a video the other day and I couldn't remember what it was. When I was talking about why I wouldn't open certain sets of figures because there were pieces in those sets that were so um, hard to get that I refused to open them, and I said that I wouldn't open Hela and another one because uh, I had too many Thanos. Well, guess what? Those two that I mentioned, the build figure isn't Thanos. Okay, that's another set. The build figure in that is the Gladiator Hulk. Now that's a pretty nice figure. Okay, and I have all the pieces for that, but I'm not going to open those up and build that figure. I've got actually three uh, sets now which have the complete figures that I'm not going to open. One is for all the pieces for Warlock, and I just don't like the character Warlock. The figure doesn't look very good. It looks like a big broom standing up there, and so I'm not even going to do that one. The other is the Thanos because, like I say, I have Thanos already, and there's too much Thanos. And even now, they got another one they just released that has another Thanos build figure, which is the armored Thanos. So, too much Thanos. I mean, I like the character Thanos, but enough's enough. And um, then I have the ones for the Gladiator Hulk. So, but I say I'm not going to open those. Now, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show some of my favorite male figures. Okay. And then I'll work on females, and then I've got another thing planned as well. But actually, I have more favorite female figures than male figures, but figure that one out. Anyway, but I'm going to show you what I consider my favorite male figures and talk a little bit about them. And my number one, I think, might just surprise you. Now, these are not just marbles. These are a mixture. I mean, they've got DC and Marvel mixed in here because I have found ones I like of both. But I would have to put, um, these are about tied. I'm going to show these two. I can't say I like one better than the other, so this is going from um, least favorite to favorite, but I still like these a lot. Now this one I think is just very, very good. This is the Infinity War Captain America. Um, Pretty common, I guess, but I think this is a really good one. They started using the laser face print, and Captain America in that movie was just great. And this figure is very good. Looks a lot like Chris Evans, and with him sporting the beard for the first time, I think this is a really good one, and definitely deserves some recognition. Uh, Now, very, very close to that, about tied, is this one, and that is the Infinity War Thor. This has got a great face print for Chris Hemsworth. You notice the Build-A-Figure piece is out of there. That's because I wanted to build a Call Obsidian. Um, this is one of those that either I'm going to replace the Build-A-Figure, or if I see another one in the store, I'll buy it because I'm going to have it either unopened or with the complete set. But it was worth it on the Call Obsidian because that's a very good Build-A-Figure. But those two, Thor and Captain America, I think are really, really good. So those two are tied. Now, there is a figure, a character I'd like to know more about, and I'm thinking of buying a graphic novel or anything. And this is a really interesting character. I've just read a little bit of the description, and that is Moon Knight. Um, I read something about a being Moon Knight being an archaeologist that goes into a tomb and then finds all these things and turns into this superhero. And I really like to read some of the stories about this and see some of the comics on this. Um, and this figure is great. It's got a lot of stuff with this guy. I guess these are like boomerangs kind of in his staff, and I don't know what his powers are or anything, but I'd like to know more about this character. And this is also one of my favorite figures, is Moon Knight. I'm very able to find this. Um, I guess it's getting kind of hard to get. I don't know. I got it for a regular price in Walmart. So, but Moon Knight. Okay. Now, this one, I think this is so impressive. This is just not just what it comes with, but the figure itself, the way it's built, is just really, really good. I think it's an awesome representation of a character, um, and I know it's associated with the Thor movies, but I don't recall seeing this character in those Thor movies. I could be wrong. I don't remember seeing this character, but that is Ares. This is such an outstanding figure. I mean, the way it's done. This is one of the ones that I'm not going to open. This is one of the ones that has the Hulk, Gladiator Hulk Build-A-Figure. I am not going to open this. No way. Uh, and there's a store here in town that carries action figures and comics. They're a bit expensive, and they have their Marvel Legends are about $10 more than what they should be, and they've had this one on the shelf for a while. And I even thought about buying it, but it's I paid the regular price for that. I believe I did pay the regular price for this. I got it online. I'm not sure anyway. And they have it for like almost $30, and that's a little steep. But this figure is hard to get. If you see this one, you should pick it up because it's pretty uncommon. But I think this is just a great figure, and it's going to stay in the package just like it is, sealed up, rolled, and everything. Okay, Ares. All right, now the last three I have, they're DC, and I've got to tell you that when it comes to superheroes, I mean, everybody knows Spider-Man and Superman and Batman, and I guess the Hulk is another good example. These ones are they're more prominent superheroes. I tended to like the underdogs, and what I mean by that are the lesser known superheroes, the ones that their powers are a bit different, and they didn't get the recognition that other heroes did, and so I tend to like them. Now, one of those that he's pretty famous in his own right, but I always like the difference of this figure, and this is a good figure also, and that is the Green Lantern. I think that he's a good superhero. I've always liked the Green Lantern. I thought his powers were really neat. He doesn't have any super strength, but he has his ring and he can fly, and part of that league and everything. Now, the movie that was made with Green Lantern, I know Ryan Reynolds really regretted taking the role, and he did. One of the things he didn't like is the fact that there really was no costume. He had to wear a computer graphics jacket and everything was up there, and they had to do the whole even the mask was all computer graphics, and he didn't like that. He even made a joke about that in the post-credit scenes at the end of Deadpool 2, where he sees himself looking at the script of Green Lantern and he shoots himself, regretting doing that. But I liked that movie. I liked Green Lantern. I think it was one of the better DC movies, certainly better than some of the junk they've turned out. That was one of the better movies, at least I think so. And I liked Green Lantern, and I like this character. So, it's each their own, okay? All right. Another one that is a kind of a lesser known, unless you've followed DC for a long time. And this I thought was a very good character also. And that is the Martian Manhunter. And you can't see it that well with this glare here. I'm trying a little bit there. This is a good face. I know in Smallville they had him in Smallville as John Johns or John Jones, and he was actually called John Johns. And his powers were he could duplicate anything himself. He could turn himself into other people. He could take objects and change the elemental structure of them. Like in one, he takes a piece of gold kryptonite and turns it into lead so it can't harm Superman. And what happened when he did that, though, is it took away his power to duplicate Superman. So, but he could do things like that. His weakness was fire, and I can't remember what comic he was in. He was the second story. A lot of times DC, when they had a comic book, they would have um, the main character, and then they'd have a second story sometimes, and that would be a lesser known character. And one of those was the Martian Manhunter, but I can't remember the comic. It's been years. I mean, I'm talking about Silver Age of comics. Anyway, but I think the Martian Manhunter, and I like this figure, good character. Now, number one. You talk about underdogs. There was a comic book, and it was called Strange Adventures. The stories that were the first story were always mixed, different stories. They didn't focus on anyone specifically, and they would just have a story. But the second story in one issue, and it was well into the past 100. It was 100 and something number issue, I believe. Started with this one character, and this character, I thought, was really, really interesting and really, really good. He was a trapeze artist, and he was doing his show, and suddenly from the crowd, a man assassinated him. And he used to dress in this uniform when he do that. And the story starts with him being dead, rising up, seeing his body there, and he wants to chase his killer. And that is Dead Man. Now, I just really, really like this character. I mean, this figure is not hard to get at all. You can get it for under $20. It's not a rare figure, probably never will be. But Dead Man was one of my favorite superheroes. And there was another character called the Spectre, which is also DC, and there was a comic book called The Brave and the Bold that would take a team up of two heroes and for a limited run, and they advertised for a long time that Dead Man was going to meet up and work with Spectre. Okay, Dead Man, no one could see him. He had the power to possess people, go inside people's bodies and things there. No one could see him. I guess Spectre would be able to see him. I never saw that comic. I don't know if it ever materialized or not. I looked for it for a long time, but they always advertised Spectre meets Dead Man, the Brave and the Bold. I never saw it. But Dead Man, what a character! I think this is great. He was a man by the name of Boston Brand, who he actually was, and he was when he was killed by this assassin. But this, I think, was one of my favorite guys there. And now, I did find this is a graphic novel which tells the Silver Age stories of Dead Man, and from the time he's assassinated to whatever they kept running the comics. The artist in this was a man by the name of Neil Adams. Now, the two big DC artists in the Silver Age of comics, first a man named Gil Kane, did a lot of, and he actually worked for Marvel for a while too, and then worked for DC, did comic books for DC. But this is by a man named Neil Adams. His art was a bit different. I have to say, I didn't care for his drawings of Superman. I didn't like it, the facial, the way he did things there. But Dead Man was always Neil Adams, and I associate this with the artist Neil Adams. Anyway, this is all of those stories that were in Strange Adventures are in this one here. It was nice to see them again. Now, in 1986, I guess they started Dead Man again, and they had a comic book with him, and I got number one, Dead Man number one from 1986. I've scanned through the comic a little bit. I haven't looked very much, but it was good to see they brought him back. I don't know if he's still going now, but Dead Man, I thought, let's say, was one of my big heroes. So, anyway, Okay, that's it for the male heroes. I'm going to be doing the females, and there's actually more female figures that I like that more than I just showed you there. Um, anyway, we're looking at this coming Friday. The movie Shazam is coming out. Now, I always thought that Shazam was Captain Marvel. They can't use the name Captain Marvel because they were DC, but um, I always thought that was Captain Marvel a male, but now Captain Marvel is a female in Marvel Comics, so they just called him Shazam. Um, there's an argument that he's a big complete rip-off from Superman. Now, I guess they started doing Shazam in the 40s. It's been around for quite a while. The movie is supposed to be very good, and I'm going to go see it. Looking forward to that. And of course, on April 26th, we have Avengers Endgame. So I just expect that to be a record breaker in all respects. So we'll see. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm very glad you guys are watching, and I appreciate those of you who subscribe and be patient with me because I'm trying to make these better. And if you have any suggestions, okay, please don't be rude. But also, I wanted to touch on something too. I mentioned my letter from Charlton Heston. I know that we can't get too much more controversial right now than the Second Amendment and things going on in Washington. And I don't want to be political in this here. I just want this to be dedicated to those of us who collect, enjoy superheroes, enjoy action figures. There's way too much politics going on here. And I'm not interested in sports either. I don't want to hear anything about sports or of that. I just want to stick to our passion, which is action figures and things, and just keep politics out of it because we get way too much of that. Okay. Anyway, everybody have a very good day, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye bye.